Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you didn't know me, my name's Nabila. I've made a bunch of videos about Oxford which you can check out on my channel and also on Oxvlog. And today I wanted to answer some Oxford related questions that I have frequently received in my Instagram DMs. So I graduated already and I made a video about my graduation, also about my trashing, which you can watch on my channel if you want to. And I didn't really want to make much more Oxford related content. I have some old footage from about a year ago, 2 years ago, that I still need to edit. If you still want to see them, let me know in the comments. But I did promise some people that I would film this, so here we are, now that I have time. I also realised that today I dressed like the Pink Imposter, but I guarantee you, I am not sus.
It's us? Okay then, cool. Who should we kill?
Anyway, I just want to get straight into this because I feel like this is going to be a long video. I have a lot of questions to get through, so let's just get straight into them. Woo! As you can see, there are a lot of questions. I compiled them on my phone, so I want to try and do this quickly. I went through like 98% of my Instagram DMs. I've answered a lot of these questions already to the people who asked them to me, but I thought it would be worth going through them again in case you have the same questions. One thing I get asked a lot is from international students about like scholarships, funding, and how do I get into Oxford. Truthfully, if there was a formula to get into Oxford that I knew of, I would be rich, okay? And I would obviously tell you, but I don't know because there is no way to get into Oxford. It's very different for each person. And as cheesy as it sounds, I will probably give this answer later on as well. You just have to show that you're passionate about the thing that you're applying to. Like, I've said this in the past, but Oxford is obviously a very good institution. It's one of the best in the world, if not the best uni. But at the end of the day, it's just a university, you know? Your self-worth shouldn't come from the fact that you went or you want to go to Oxford, and you can do amazing things in so many other places. Not even a university, you could do an apprenticeship, you could go straight into work, or you could go to a different uni, and it's like not the end of the world. So please bear that in mind. Don't get all your hopes pinned into Oxford. That's not to say don't apply. I definitely do encourage you to do so, especially if that's something you want to do. But just don't let it take over your life, because it can be stressful, and it's honestly not worth it. In short, I don't know much about the overseas application process because I applied from the UK, but as I always tell these people, you should just go onto the Oxford website and don't be afraid to just send emails and ask directly if you have questions, because those people can help you a lot better than people like me, you know? Oh, okay. So the first question is, why did I pick Oxford, not Cambridge? I did Chinese studies with Korean, and that course is also offered in Cambridge, but the subsidiary part is slightly different. I'm just going to read the answer that I gave this person. So I said, the short answer is that I think Oxford has more freedom. Also, depending on what you prefer, your year abroad is in second year at Oxford and third year in Cambridge. I also filmed 2 very detailed videos comparing Chinese studies at Oxford and Cambridge that are on my channel, so do check them out if that's something that you're considering applying to. I was wondering if you had any advice for applying or anything you realised later on about the course that you wish you knew earlier. My answer that I gave them was, well, I guess I'd tell you that the course is quite grammar focused and requires a lot of independent work. Written Chinese is also highly emphasised. Obviously, this is about Chinese studies, that specific question, and a lot of the questions that I'll go through. But I think that goes for majority of the courses in Oxford. It's very independent, so you have to be very self-motivated and have great time management skills. I think if you can organise your time, you can get through it. Honestly, I think that is the key to a degree at Oxford, and probably Cambridge as well. Don't forget that Chinese studies at Oxford is very written focused. They don't care much about the speaking element. You do have a speaking exam, of course, but it's like 5% of your grade compared to the other papers. So remember that. Another question was, what exams did you pass? How was your score? Sorry for my mistakes. So they were asking like, what exams did I do prior to coming to Oxford, I think. Wait, what did I do? I did... Okay. I did 3 A-levels. One of them was a Cambridge Pre, which is an equivalent to an A-level, and that was Chinese. And then I did Philosophy and Ethics, and I did English Literature, and I got 3 A's. Okay, first of all, I want to ask about Muslims in Oxford. Are there many Muslim students in Oxford? How do you celebrate Muslim festivals? What do you do for Ramadan and Eid? And what do you like about Oxford culture? There's a lot of questions there, but I'm going to split them into 2. First of all, I think Oxford is becoming more and more diverse, especially since I've left. So yes, there are a fair amount of Muslims, definitely more than when I first went there. There's a very good community feel for Muslims in Oxford. The Oxford Islamic Society, which I used to be on the committee of, I was communications chair, go check out the Instagram page. It's a very, very nice community. I feel like everybody feels like family, and not even going to lie, just going to be real here, compared to what I've heard of some of the London-based ISOCs, I think well, I'm saying we as if I'm still there, but Yeah, we are very tight knit, and even though I graduated, I still talk to people that I met from there, and people are still very close to each other. So yeah, if you're looking for a sense of belonging as a Muslim in Oxford, then do check out the Islamic Society. During Ramadan, they host free iftars, which is the meal where you break your fast, every single night. They get meals donated from local restaurants, and also sometimes people make their own food and bring it in. It's a very nice atmosphere if you don't want to be alone and like breaking your fast in your room, especially during exam season. It's nice to go there to the Muslim prayer room because yes, there is a prayer room. It's in central Oxford, so it's easy to get to. But then there's also the Centre for Islamic Studies, which is... I made a tour video for this place actually, so you can check that out. I'll link all of the things that I'm referencing in the description bar, so watch these afterwards if you want to. That is not owned by the Oxford Islamic Society, however, it has a very nice mosque and a very nice library as well, so if you want to go there for the Islamic feels, then do check it out because it's really pretty. Let me start again. I'm trying to be so fast. Oh, it's killing me. Okay, so this person also asked about Eid. Eid usually falls in the vacation, which means that there's less students around. However, the Islamic Society does still host Eid events for the people who are still about, and then there's also local groups in Oxford that host Eid events. And from what I've seen in the pictures, it's very cute. I don't think I've been there for... Oh, no, I have been in Oxford for Eid before, but I had exams, so truthfully I wasn't doing anything. Nothing at all. But I could have if I wanted to. Okay, I wanted to ask some questions about the Cambridge Uni scholarship and any experience I have with scholarships. So I didn't get a scholarship. To be honest, the process for scholarships really confused me at the time, but there definitely are some. I went to Oxford, not Cambridge, so I don't know much about the Cambridge ones, but as I will say when it comes to scholarship things, please look on the Oxford website. If a scholarship is something that you would definitely benefit from, do some Google searches. There are so many youth organisations these days, especially ones that are targeted at minority ethnic people or working class people that want to support you. They do exist, just look out for them and search for them, and I'm sure you'll find them. There are also some on the Oxford website, and they depend on like your course, your background. I think there's one for Muslim students. I can't remember the name for it, but it's linked to the Centre for Islamic Studies, so they do exist. Check them out. I do not know in greater detail. I apologise. That scared me. Well, this is going great. Going great. The rest of this video is going to go better. That is my promise to myself. What did you study and did you enjoy it? I did Chinese studies with Korean. It was a 4-year course and I really did enjoy it. It was stressful, and I think a lot of that comes from the fact that it was at Oxford because the workload is no joke. But I did enjoy it, especially my year abroad, which is in the 2nd year. Why am I failing so hard today? I just don't understand, Nabila. It's just not acceptable. So, as I mentioned before, I did Chinese at A-level with the Cambridge PRU, and then I also did Mandarin as a GCSE, which means that I've been learning Chinese since I was 11 approximately. Obviously the levels back then were different to at degree level. However, my first year of doing Chinese was a little bit easier for me, and the first term definitely, like every time I wanted to answer a question, the teacher didn't let me most of the time because I was at a more advanced level. However, the people who hadn't spoken Chinese before and were learning from scratch definitely pick up very fast because the workload is a lot and the course is designed for beginners and people who have done Chinese before to learn at the same time. Does Oxford University have a branch in America? No, my friend, not to my knowledge. I do not think they do. Someone in my family, when I got into Oxford, asked me if it was the one on Oxford Street in London. Can't say it is. You know, it's an easy mistake to make. How do you adapt to other friends? And you are a Muslim, do they respect you wearing the hijab? Yeah, I think people were very respectful of me wearing the headscarf. It wasn't just me, although when I first joined Oxford, like back then, there were less people wearing the headscarf, but now I think there are a lot more. So I think, yeah, most people are very respectful and understanding of that. How did I adapt to other friends? I don't know what that really means, to be honest. Like, I guess friendships, totally different video, but I did okay. I think if I'm misunderstanding the question, I'm sorry, but I guess there wasn't much compromise needed with the fact that I was a person practicing my faith and a lot of people at university were not Muslim, if that's what the question is. I was wondering if you had any tips or things I could do before applying to help me stand out, such as wider reading, lectures to see, essay competitions, proving you're genuinely interested in and capable of studying Chinese. So what I told this person was that I'm not really sure if there is an answer to your question. The key is to do anything with passion and your tutors should notice it. Now yes, I know that sounds like a lazy answer, but just think about it. Like, there is no set combination of things I could recommend you to watch or read or listen to that will get you into Oxford. It just doesn't work like that. Like, you could find something very niche. That might be a good way to go about it. that you are genuinely interested in related to your subject, whether that be Chinese, physics, or whatever it is, and then talk about it in your personal statement. And then when your tutors ask you about that in your interview, you actually have things to talk about. If I tell you to go, read the book by David Crystal, which I think I still have on my bookshelf, but you're not actually interested in linguistics, then if they do ask you about it, you'll kind of be like, oh yeah, he talked about cognates. I don't know. Not like that. I'm sure you'll be able to like stylize it a bit more than that, but what I'm trying to say is you have to do anything with passion, especially like if you want to commit to the next 3 or 4, if you're doing medicine, more than that, very difficult years of your life, then it has to be worth it. I guess what I'm trying to say is that there's nothing I can really recommend you. The world is so fast-paced. The world of Chinese studies is always evolving, like every day, and there will always be new material out there for you to go and consume. If you are interested in the field of Chinese, then I say research into it, find a niche, and then talk about that in your application process. And read the news, stay up to date with current affairs. There will be a lot to do with China in the news, and probably whatever subject you are applying to as well. Did you do any work experience that helped you with your Oriental Studies application? My answer was, I guess that's more important for job applications. For uni, you need to show that you're willing to learn rather than the fact that you already have knowledge, which is very true. I stand by the answer. There is no set work experience you could do for Oriental Studies, especially because it's not a vocational course. For medicine, yeah, of course, you should volunteer at a hospital and do things like that. But for Chinese studies and the other Oriental Studies subjects, which, by the way, I think they're going to change the name Oriental Studies because it's been perceived as being a racist and outdated term. There's some tea for you right there. But as of now, it's still called that. Yeah, I don't think there is a work experience you could do. Anything that you have done in the past which is related to your subject would obviously be very, very unique and interesting and probably make you stand out. So good for you if you found something. But if you can't find anything, it's not a big deal because truthfully, there are very few opportunities in that field, especially as a sixth form student. I don't know how you would get a job in some Chinese firm or whatever it is, at that level. Okay, as a hijabi, what did you wear to your Oxford interview? I almost dropped my phone. So, I tried to keep it casual chic. I wore a chiffon shirt and a scarf, but obviously wear whatever you feel comfortable in. They say that there's no dress code for the interviews, but what I think you should do, regardless of whether you're a hijabi or not, is do something formal, but definitely not too formal. Formal, casual, and make sure that you're comfortable because you're going to be stressed out most likely and nervous and stuff, and you don't want to be feeling uncomfortable, For masculine people, for example, I think you could just wear a jumper with some chinos, that could be easy, nice clean shoes. And for a feminine person, you could wear a chiffon top, even with some jeans or some trousers that don't really look like formal trousers, and then some flat shoes. Easy. Fun fact, because I think there's going to be a lot of interview questions, I did film videos during my interview process before I was a YouTuber or anything like that. I filmed them for myself and also for my teacher at the time, and anybody who I thought in the future might ask me questions about Chinese studies, because obviously it's a very small course and I wanted to help people with the experiences that I had at the time. I didn't know anybody else who applied for Chinese, so being the only person, as soon as my interview was over, I got my iPad, because I was filming on my iPad back then, and I word vomited everything that happened in the interview when I went back to my room and also when I was having my lunch after the interview. Yeah, I think those were very useful videos, but alas, they are lost now on my broken Mac. If you want to know more about that, go onto my Instagram and check out the story highlights. It's a very tragic story and I don't want to think about it, but yeah, if I ever find that footage, I will try and share that with you one day. I look very different. Well, I look younger. I don't look that different, but I look younger and it could be interesting. Are there any halal hot pot restaurants in Oxford? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Not that I know of. I don't think there is. There is in London. Ooh, not that I know of actually. In the UK, I haven't found a halal hot pot restaurant, but to be honest, I wasn't looking that hard and I'm sure they exist. If you know of any, please tell me, especially in London. Tell me below. I've been to seafood ones. Hai Di Lao is really good, by the way. You should check that out. They have one in the O2 and they also have one near Chinatown, so go check that place out. But in Oxford, no. There were halal restaurants. There are so many halal restaurants. Well, not so many. If you're worried about halal food in Oxford, do not be, because there is a good amount of halal food. If you want to cook your own, go down Cowley and you can find the halal meat shops. I think there's more than one butcher shop. There's also a lot of restaurants that are actually nicely flavoured and have halal food. In terms of Oxford colleges, majority of them don't offer halal meat, but I think that's probably going to change in the future. And just keep an eye out. Sometimes they offer it just for the formal meals. In my college, for example, the chef basically came out and told me when I asked about halal meat that it wasn't really worth their effort going through all the trouble to cook halal food for only 2 Muslim students at that time. They'd have to make sure that they don't contaminate the utensils and all those kind of things and buy the meat itself. So they didn't offer halal meat back then. However, when I was in my final year, they started to do it for formals, and I believe it's just chicken. If you give them some notice, they can prepare that for you. But to be honest, do you want it though? Most of it's really dry. I say go buy it from a restaurant, I don't know. It's up to you, it's up to you. The next person asks, how do you cope with discrimination at Oxford? I think everybody has different coping mechanisms for things like this. Talk to someone that you're close to. Don't internalize it. Well, try not to anyway. If you can, call people out when they discriminate against you. And if it's something on a more structural level, then write emails. And if a professor did something and you don't feel comfortable talking to them about it, then report them to someone else, and there will always be people who can help you. There should be different reps in your JCR who you can get in contact with. If somebody was discriminating against your sexuality, for instance, talk to the LGBTQ plus rep, and if it was something else, there should be someone relevant for you to talk to. If not, there's loads of Facebook groups where people can support you. And yes, the elephant in the room is that I did make a video about discrimination at Oxford where I talked about my experiences and then a lot of other students, so please do watch that. I'll link that down below as well. Another fun, not so fun fact is that when I was looking through my phone one time, I found more material that I could have used in that video. And some of the things that I could have used were actually more shocking than what I did mention in the video. But I think, obviously, I was filming that during term time. And I was kind of pressed for time as well. So I couldn't include everything. Or maybe it just slipped my mind. But yeah, that video could have been longer. And that's very interesting. But overall, I don't think Oxford's a bad place. I just think every place is bad and some places are worse than others. Watch the video and tell me what you take of that. Here we are. That's probably too much, isn't it? Just got it out of the washing machine, but I will respectfully take it off. Woo! Let me get these questions ready. Oh no, my microphone. Hold up. Hold up. I really look like the pink one from Among Us today. Look at this. I freaking look like I'm in a spaceship. But I am not sus. Oh my god.